Hey everybody, day number 95. This one is called Be the Bouncer. I was thinking to myself the other night that I act as a gatekeeper, or a bouncer is my kind of spin on it, a bit of analogy, where I decide what comes into my life and what doesn't come into my life. There's going to be people, so I can choose to let toxic people into my life, or I can let positive people in, whether that's a friend or a partner. You know, people can either be one of two things. And it can also be like tangible things, so I can choose to let positivity into my life, or I can choose to let negativity into my life. I can choose to let bad habits like drugs and excessive drinking into my life, or I can choose to let more positive habits into my life, like eating healthy and dieting and exercise and those kind of things. Much like a bouncer, however, you know, sometimes you might let something into your life and mistakenly, or you think it's okay, and then it turns out to be bad. Like maybe a person you thought who's good, you've let them in, turns out they're bad. Maybe you let drinking in thinking, oh, it'll benefit me or whatever, and you know it doesn't. It ends up being bad for you, and that's still okay, because bouncers have the power to go into their own nightclubs and say, hey, come on, you've had enough, get out. You know, you can still be the bouncer and the gatekeeper, and you know, go in and find things that are bad and boot them out. You know, you don't have to let them stay. I kind of like this little analogy I've come up with, because it puts that element of control back into your hands. You know, every human being is their own gatekeeper. You know, it's not up to anyone else. Once you have that element of control, you have that responsibility, and it gives you that power to actually do something. To say, no, you're not coming into my life, or if something has you've been let in and you're not happy with, you can go in and say, get out please, much like bouncers do. So yeah, that's my little analogy for today. You know, put the responsibility back on you. Be the gatekeeper, or the bouncer, as I say. You know, don't let things into your life that you don't want, and if something is in your life you're not happy with, then go in the club, grab them by the collar and throw them out. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I'll catch you all tomorrow for day 96.